Whether you're a brand new reseller or you're someone that has been reselling for a while, it's probably pretty obvious that knowing which brands to look out for when you're outsourcing is the key to making more money. Today I'm going to share some of the best brands to look for to sell on eBay, as well as how to do the research to find even more brands that are going to sell for a good amount. Hi, my name is Eileen. Welcome to Hustle and Slow, a channel all about building multiple streams of income and working from home. I actually started my eBay business several years ago when I was a stay-at-home mom to a 1-year-old, and I wanted a way to make extra money and kind of do something fun for myself. So I started selling on eBay, and I started with decluttering stuff from our house and just reinvested the money back into eBay. It grew pretty quickly, and my first year I was able to put over $10,000 into our savings account, and we were able to afford to do just some more fun stuff that we wouldn't have done normally. I honestly think that reselling is one of the best and most accessible side hustles out there. Most people have access to yard sales and thrift stores and the internet. And if you have access to all those things, then you can resell and make money doing it. So before I get into the best brands to sell on eBay, I do have a couple of things I want to mention. The first thing is to keep in mind that I could give you a list of brands that sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars, but the likelihood of you finding authentic Gucci every single day that you are outsourcing is really slim. Instead, I'm going to focus on brands that are still going to give you a pretty decent return on investment, but items that you can actually find relatively regularly. Of course, what you can find near you is going to depend. I'm currently in the Pacific Northwest, so I find a lot of outdoorsy brands. I previously lived close to Los Angeles, and when I went into LA, I was able to more easily find more trendy brands. So it just depends on where you live and what you can find. So I just tried to include brands that, while you might not find them every single day, they are brands to look out for because you can usually make a pretty good profit from them if you're buying them at yard sales or at thrift stores. Most of us are spending our sourcing time sorting through a sea of Target and Walmart brands, and that is totally normal. We are all digging through stuff to find the 1 or 2% of items that are actually worth reselling. So my focus today is going to be mostly on women's brands, but there are a couple of brands in here that sell women's and men's, and I think even children's clothing. But the focus is mostly on women's clothing because that's honestly what I know most and have researched the most myself. Before I give you the brands, there are a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. The first thing is that you have to price competitively. I don't care what brand you find. You could find Louis Vuitton and price it too high and it's not going to sell. So not only do you need to find brands that are going to sell, you need to price them competitively so that they're actually going to sell. The second thing is that your cost of goods matters. If you're finding something that sells for $30 but you're spending $20 on it, it's probably not worth your money to invest in that. So paying attention to your cost of goods, how much you can sell it for, and what your profit margin is going to be is really important. It's also important to pay attention to style and condition. You can't just sell any brand in any condition or pick up anything with a specific brand on it and think that it's going to sell. Just because a certain brand sells well in general doesn't mean a tank top from 15 years ago is going to sell well. So paying attention to style and condition are really important when you're looking at brands, regardless of how well that brand sells. Before I get started, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, Synder. Synder specializes in easy accounting for e-commerce businesses. So with Synder, you can automate the reconciliation of your sales from different e-commerce systems. This way, your books are always ready for accurate reporting and hassle-free taxes. Taxes are the thing that kind of scares everybody. So being able to automate all of this with Synder makes it a lot easier on you when tax time comes. There are features like one-click bank reconciliation and detailed reporting. This way you can save a lot of time and be able to quickly see how your business is doing at any point in time. Synder works with e-commerce platforms like eBay, Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, and WooCommerce. It also integrates with popular payment processors like PayPal, Stripe, and Square. I'll have a link down in the description for a free demo and a free trial if you're interested in checking it out. All right, so let's get to the brands. Remember, these are women's brands, and these are not brands that are selling for $100 or $200 or $300 on average. These are brands that you might be able to easily find at any given time at your thrift store or at a yard sale. I'm not talking high-end designer brands here. I'm talking about brands that maybe you don't find them every day, but you can find them relatively easily compared to high-end designer brands, and you can still make a good profit. So let's go. Okay, the first thing is Athleta, and this is an athletic wear line. I think it's related to like Gap and Old Navy, but it is pretty popular with the people that love Athleta products. The items that seem to do the best with Athleta are things like pants and leggings and some of their dresses. Next up is Spanx, and this is a funny one because up until the last couple of years, I kind of thought Spanx was just shapewear and you just threw them on under a dress if you were going somewhere formal, and that was that. But they actually have a lot of other products too, like leggings and pants and the shapewear, obviously. And pretty much anything by Spanx does pretty well as long as it's in good condition. Obviously, you want to check comps on anything that you find, but you can sell most things from Spanx for at least $25, $30. I recently found a pair of camel print leggings, and I thought they were just generic camel print leggings, but when I looked, I saw they were Spanx and they were selling for about $40 on eBay. Of course, there's Lululemon. If you're rolling your eyes because obviously Lululemon does well, I don't know what to tell you. It does really well, and a lot of people do buy it and then they get rid of it at yard sales. I found it at yard sales before, and usually the people that buy Lululemon buy a lot of Lululemon. So if you find a garage sale with Lululemon, you're probably going to find a couple more pieces in their stuff that they're selling. So pretty much anything Lululemon does pretty well as long as it's more recent and not an older style. Even the older styles of some things will do okay, but more of the recent stuff will do well, especially the leggings and jackets and dresses will do well. I don't have a ton of luck with tank tops, but they'll still sell a lot of times for like $20, $25. It honestly just depends on the style and how sought after it is and if it's discontinued and a lot of other factors. So like with anything else, do your research, make sure it's in good condition and check it out on eBay, and it might be something worth picking up. Next up is Chacos, and I love finding Chacos. They're always such a fast flip. Chacos are pretty easy to spot. Their sandals all look really similar and they sell really quickly for me in like the $30, $40, sometimes $50 range. Next is Patagonia, and this isn't something that I find often, but when I do find it, I know that it's almost always going to be worth it to pick it up because I only shop at yard sales and thrift stores, and the most I'm gonna pay for it is maybe like $10, maybe $15, but most of the time, even at $15, it's going to be a good bet if you're picking up outerwear like their fleece like sweaters or even jackets. Most of the time Patagonia items I find are going to sell for $40 or $50 or even more for the more expensive items. Like I said, the outerwear is going to sell for the most, but they also have other items like dresses and pants, and those do well depending on style. But they're not going to sell for like $100 like some of the jackets are, but it's still a good brand to look out for and look up those items if you find them. North Face is next, and it's very similar to Patagonia. I find that mostly outerwear does well with North Face. Their other items don't do as well, but they're usually worth it to just look it up anyway, but North Face does really well too. Next is Levi's, and I know this sounds so basic because everybody's heard of Levi's. They sell Levi's everywhere, right? But people who wear Levi's have specific Levi's that they like, and Levi's is such a large brand and they have so many different styles that if you can educate yourself on which styles do well, you can easily find Levi's that sell for $25, $35, even $40 when you're out at the thrift store or at yard sales. Next up are what I call my old lady brands, and that's Eileen Fisher and J. Jill. Eileen Fisher, it just depends on the item, but a lot of times you can find items that sell for like $50 or more. Their organic cotton items do really well, and obviously the more recent styles. I find that dresses and jackets and sweaters do the best with Eileen Fisher. And then with J. Jill, I feel like a lot of people are gonna roast me for putting this on the list because it's such like a comfort old lady brand, but here's my thinking. These are nicer brands. I wouldn't say designer brands, but a lot of their items are around $100, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And the people who generally have money to spend are those older populations because they're more established. So they're going to spend more money on the items that they like. So a brand like J. Jill may not be appealing to anyone younger, but to half the population that is on the older side and wants those comfort clothes that are a little bit nicer than what you can pick up at Walmart or Kohl's. They are looking for brands like this. So with J. Jill, you do want to pay attention to style because there are a lot of things either not selling or selling for really cheap, but if you get the right items, you can make $30, $40, or $50. And the last one is Birkenstock, and this is a pretty obvious one to a lot of established resellers as well. Birkenstock always sells really quickly. Usually a pretty used pair can sell for like $30, but a better conditioned pair can sell for $50 or $60. I recently sold a pair that was lightly used for about $60 and it took less than a week to sell. So Birkenstocks are usually a really good flip. The only thing is there's a lot of Birkenstock style sandals now. So when you're at the thrift store and you think you see Birkenstocks, a lot of times it ends up being something like a Walmart brand or something, so it kind of plays with you that way. But if you can find authentic Birkenstocks, then they're usually worth picking up. If you found this video helpful so far, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to see more videos from me about making money from home, reselling, and building multiple streams of income. Next, I'm going to tell you how to find more brands. Obviously, this list of like a dozen brands is not everything that sells well on eBay. A lot of it is a matter of opinion and a matter of what you can find. But I do want to give you the tools to do the research yourself so that you can find brands that are going to sell well as well. So I'm going to teach you two methods of research. The first one is how to research a brand that you have already found and see what sells well within that brand. And the second is how to find other brands to look out for when you're sourcing. Okay, to search for a brand, obviously we're going to put in the brand name, which I already did this search real fast for J. Jill because I had to record this again. So we did J. Jill. There are 68,000 items available, but we want to see what items have sold and what items have sold for a good price. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom. On the left side, we are going to click Show Only Sold Items. So now we're down to 33,000 items. There are 33,000 items that have sold in the last 90 days on eBay that are J. Jill, which is great. That means there's plenty of items that are selling. But this includes items that are new with tags. This includes items that sold for 99 cents plus shipping. So we don't want to look at those items because if we're at a thrift store, we don't want to spend $5 on something and then sell it for 99 cents. And we also aren't going to expect to find things that are new with tags. So now we're going to scroll down and we're going to sort it by pre-owned, which brings us down to 23,000 items. And then we're also going to do a price range. I like to do it this way. Some people might just go ahead and sort it by highest first, and then you can see the items that have sold for the most, and that's a great way to do it. This brand actually is fine to do it that way because there aren't outrageously priced items, but if you did like Levi's or something, there are Levi's that sell for a crazy amount of money, and you're not likely to find those. Obviously, go and look at those if you want to keep an eye out for those, but I want to look for things that are more realistic to find. So what I like to do is I like to put in like $30 to $60 because I think that it's likely that I'll find items that are maybe in that price range. And then from here, I can see that there is this wool blend cardigan, there's this sleep set, a lot of tops, which is always a good idea to lot things together. Maybe these tops only sell for like $15 or $20 each, but if you lot them all together, if they're the same size, a lot of times you can get more money for them. And it's less work to ship out one thing versus three things. Coats, and we're seeing that coats are doing really well. This intricate embroidered striped top, more coats, a lot of pants, a skirt, and this is what I generally find. Some dresses. I generally find coats, dresses do well with J. Jill. So that's a good one. If we want to do another one, we're going to do Levi's so I can show you what I mean. So right now we still have, and I like to, a lot of times you'll see from United Kingdom, I like to say within the United States just because I'm in the United States. So I'm going to go down here and click US only. We still have it pre-owned and we still have it showing things that are selling between $30 and $60, which is usually a pretty good sell price if you're buying things for $1 to maybe even $10, depending on where you live. So you can see lots of jeans, boots, shorts, jackets, but I want to show you why I don't. If I take off this price range, if you sort from highest first, you will get some crazy things if you look at Levi's. And while it's great to know what kind of Levi's to look for that might sell for a crazy price, the chances of you coming across this are not that high. So I prefer to pay attention to the things that I'm going to find a lot more often. So that's why I like to do the price range. It's just a little more realistic. So next, I'm going to show you how to do research when you want to find more brands to look out for at the thrift store. So maybe you don't already have brands in mind or you want to expand your knowledge in that way. So the first thing you need to do is search for something. So think of a category that you want to search for. So let's say you really like sourcing jeans. So we're going to search jeans. And then you need to decide if you want to do men's or women's. We're going to do women's since we've been talking about women's jeans. And then you're going to see there are 1.6 million results, but we're going to do the same kind of thing. So we're going to go down to sold. And then we are going to go to pre-owned. And then it narrows it down to 431,000. And then we still need to go down to sort it by a price range. So I think finding jeans that are going to sell online for $30 to $60 is pretty realistic to find relatively regularly at the thrift store, and there are 55,000 results. So 55,000 pairs of used jeans have sold between $30 and $60 in the last 90 days. So this is a good indication that you're going to be able to find this kind of stuff. Depending on where you live, you might be able to find them more or less often than others, but in general, this is a good way to find brands that might do well. So now we're just going to look. So Rock Revival, Seven for All Mankind, Pilcrow and the Letterpress. These are all brands I've heard of before, but there are going to be brands that you've never heard of before as you scroll through here. And you also want to pay attention to style. So a lot of people say that skinny jeans are out, but I'm still seeing skinny jeans selling. These Good American skinny jeans, these Seven for All Mankind skinny jeans. So there are plenty of different styles out there that you need to be looking for. So Madewell, Driftwood. I've never heard of Driftwood, but it sold for It doesn't show, but it was up for $59.99. I'm assuming they didn't accept like $10, so I'm gonna guess it sold for at least $30 or $40. Gap, even Gap is still selling apparently for $33. Silver jeans, Rag & Bone, a vintage pair of Guess jeans, Rap London, Buckle or BKE. James Jeans is actually, I think, a brand name, and that's a coat. FUBU, studded jean jacket, and jean set. So you're going to find a mix of like things that you can find that are more recent and also vintage items. Just scrolling through here and researching once in a while and just kind of seeing what is selling for a decent sale price is going to help you when you're in the thrift store or wherever you go sourcing, because you're going to have a better idea in the back of your head at what kind of items to look for and pick up so that you can make a good profit. I hope you found this video helpful, not just the list of brands, but also in helping you research brands yourself. Because like I said, a short list of brands isn't gonna help you. You're not gonna be able to find all of those brands on a regular basis. So finding brands that you are able to find that are going to give you a good profit is always a good use of your time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out today's sponsor, Synder. The link is down in the description. And make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos about making money from home and building multiple streams of income.